Okay, attempt number 3. Hello, everybody. Ojama Yaret's here. Daily Vlog, day 3. What I'm gonna talk about today is why jobs suck, part 2. Because it is a never-ending subject for me. Because I see one of the most major problems in America is our job system. Our system of it's not jobs. It's because a job isn't like when I think of a job, I think of any work that needs to be done. I need to get a job or I need to do this job. My laundry's dirty. Okay, so now it's a job to go do my laundry, and I'm getting a reward from that, having clean clothes and stuff like that. So that's how I think about job. But I know, like, when I say job on the internet or I'm talking to people about it, they immediately think a 9 to 5. Okay, I do not like the job structure in America, and what I mean by that specifically is I do not like that we are relying on businesses as employees, as workers, the working class, whatever. We are relying on businesses to distribute USD to us, US dollars to the people, because it creates this relationship where, like, and it's not that it's not even just that. It's that's like the only option for people to make money. You know what I mean? To simply put it. So what I mean by that too is that, like, you can get a job. It's a very simple way for you to get money. Go get a job, easy peasy. Build skills at the job. You build a resume up by just having a job, and you make some money. So it's a simple way. It's nice and efficient, and it's great. To get people going, to get like money in the bank. Because I mean, like, I'm a homeowner with no high school diploma. All I did was work jobs for a very long time, and my camera's lagging out every day, like normal. I just got to get over that or buy a new camera eventually. But um, right. So the issue I have with it though is that, like, it puts it into this. I believe it causes a great strain on the worker class because it creates this. I don't want to, for a lack of a better term, a power dynamic where the employer has you by the balls, and there's like this agreement that you start at this wage, and then they kind of like people who run businesses or occupy higher places in businesses. And in my experience, I've noticed they tend to be more like crafty. They tend to be like, I don't want to say smarter necessarily, but they usually are of a higher, like, they have a different skill set and like communication and bargaining and all that other stuff that, like, maybe their degrees they're getting is like teaching them. But it kind of gives them an advantage over people. And by advantage, I mean like just an advantage when it comes to negotiations and stuff like that, because they realize that they got something you want, which is money, and with that money, you need that money to pay your bills and stuff like that. And I feel like every interaction with managers and businesses that I've had, they've known that fact and they exploit that fact, because it would be like the physical equivalent if I was stronger than somebody and then wanted their money. I could go take it from them, knowing that if they had no way to fight me, they would just give it to me, or I'd beat the shit out of them. That's kind of what I'm going with. Like, that's kind of how it feels in America. Like, businesses, and this goes into part 1 where there's like no love. This is like a continuation of that. There's no love there, so they're trying to negotiate the lowest wage possible and stuff like that. I believe that businesses would be, or I mean, there's a lot of different directions I could go with that. But like the main one is that people just these businesses are taking advantage of people, the workers in general, and the lack of a way to make money outside of businesses. It's because they have a monopoly on the USD distribution. You could say, if there was just like normal ways for people to make money, like for instance, with RuneScape, that was the thing I was stuck on. It's like, okay, so part of my life mission is I want to learn how to make money without business, like without starting a business, like sole. What is that called? What is that called? Where you're not taxing as a business, you're not an LLC, you're a sole proprietor. I think it's called. Just like, what are money makers. Like, who cares about starting a business? I just want to know some money makers. Why isn't life more like RuneScape? RuneScape being like, okay, so let me explain this to people who aren't going to know what RuneScape is. It's like RuneScape, you just land into the game and you're like, let's look at these items here. They get examined, and then there's like a database that this is attached to with this examine, and it tells you how much it's worth on the Grand Exchange, which is the exchange where players are buying and selling, and then there's an algorithm which forces it to go up and down. And then so you kind of like you look at stuff like I want to okay, so these logs are 1800 and this bowstring is 881 and these shrimps are 374. So I'm going to go prioritize getting logs right now because they'll make me the most money. And as you sell more logs to the market, this will go down over time and eventually it will not be worth your time. Or if you get better skills or find better money makers, you'll go into those things. That's kind of it's directing the flow of labor so that like the people who are buying these items are getting what they need, thus not buying as much, driving the price down, thus sending the labor force to other items, and then continuing this perfect cycle of wow, that is a long lag. I think my computer's cooked. Or I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why that's happening. Maybe it's because it's not a USB 3. Sorry. Sure. Thank you. That's a risk I'm going to take. Right. So then continuing on from what I was talking about, I just want to then say like it would be nice if there were options like this. I'm trying to like I'm like putting my brain on the cheese grater every single day trying to figure out a way to translate money making from RuneScape into real life, but like the only ways I can think of are like businesses where you need to then go get a loan from the bank or you need to go crowdfund or you need to start projects and collaborate with other people. But I don't like that method because I don't think there's a lot of I want like a solo method for myself because me personally I don't like a lot of other people and I don't want to go into business with people that I don't like. And that's kind of the big problem I'm having at jobs too is that there's a lot of people that are fine and dandy, but I've become a lot more jagged of a person, so I'm a lot less tolerant of other people. So there's always somebody who I don't like and I don't want to be around them. So then I'm just getting more and more to a point where I just don't want to have a job. And eventually, hopefully like 10 to 20 years down the line, I can figure something out, a way to make money without relying on other people directly. I don't mind if like we are in the same building, but I just don't like teams and stuff anymore because I don't know. I just had a lot of bad experiences and I haven't been able to get over them. Maybe I will be able to and I can just like finish out my grind with the retirement path, but whatever. So let's pretend RuneScape is your job. Let's pretend the universe of RuneScape is the job, and the company that made RuneScape is the bosses. So, how jobs could not suck is if every company did stuff like RuneScape. Okay. Well, I kind of skated over this. So the way the jobs are structured, this is a tangent fest. So you're gonna have to really like me to stick around for this shit. But so people are taking advantage of you at the job, so they just like they're bidding. It's the same thing as it's a market force. You know, they're paying as little as possible, but it's for the labor they're getting, and it's just from a business perspective, they're just purchasing your labor like a commodity. Because I think maybe it is technically considered a commodity in economics. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember off the top of my head, but no, I don't want to pledge to cancel. Thank you. I don't know if labor is technically a commodity, but you're hiring a person, and then you're not buying their labor. You're buying their presence. Like they say, you're buying their labor, but like in contract of you being paid, you need to be on the premises. You have to submit to their rules. And like so there's very little negotiation when it comes to there's very little empathy when it comes to like what is acceptable behavior on the clock and what is acceptable behavior off the clock. Like every corporate entity I've dealt with, except for the one I'm in now. Sorry, I don't want to say that. The job I'm at now is the reason why I can confidently talk about this stuff because I like the job I work for because they seem to make a lot more money or the same amount of money as all these shitty jobs that I talk about, but they don't have all the stupid rules. they have rules that matter, like the matter, like, if you don't do your job, you're fired. That's a very simple rule. You know what I mean? If you're at work, you're expected to work, but within that rule set, you are given, what is it? Can I sit here? So we can safe spot this. That's awesome. Anyway, so you can, within the rules, the frame of the box, there's pretty much like a I don't want to go into policy because whatever, but like essentially it's like you have a little bit of freedom within that if you're like able to complete your job well enough that so essentially like listening to music, you can listen to music at your workstation. Okay. So there's like this, the social dynamic of that, and I can understand both sides of that coin. I don't want to deal with it because I don't want to deal with employee frustration with people playing music that other people have a problem with and stuff like that. But I think that is greatly outweighed by the pros of that, because a lot of businesses don't let you listen to whatever music you want, let alone let you smile for free. That's one thing. Okay, you know what I mean? So there's a little bit of breathing room, and there's a little bit of negotiation about like job quality. And that's awesome. That's an awesome thing. But at every other job I've ever worked at, so let's say like McDonald's or Mobile or Walmart, if you breathe wrong, you are in jeopardy of losing your job. So there's that. I mean, that's a little bit of hyperbolic right there, but I'm not too far off. Like there's, you got your cool managers and stuff like that, but like as soon as corporate hears that somebody's smiling on the clock, they're coming and they're firing someone. They're firing someone, or they're like pulling out part of the contract, or not the contract, but the worker agreement, that they get to take one of your organs in exchange, because if you're smiling, you're not making the company money. Sorry. Sorry. Jokes aside, I should have got my range up a little bit. I think this is gonna take me a very long time to kill this. Whatever. Where am I going? Okay, sorry. So back to my example, RuneScape here. This would be like an example of so let's pretend again. Sorry, I have to redo this. I'm going to redo this a lot. I'm really bad at this, like freestyling, this type of stuff. If I was just talking about RuneScape, I could do this all day, or like video games and stuff. But this is like a new concept for me. So this is kind of like maybe like my training ground where I just put up stupid shit and then just practice, and then you guys all have to suffer through it, or the two people that actually watch my stuff have to suffer through it. But so then RuneScape is your boss, you're the employee. RuneScape, like the cost of doing business at RuneScape, the agreement would be like membership. That would be your what they're required of you, the base level they're requiring from you, or whatever. So to maintain your membership, you have to, like on RuneScape 3, get like 150 mil every 2 weeks. And then on like old school RuneScape, you have to get 13.5 mil every 2 weeks. So it forces you then to decide. So it's a maintenance cost, like to relate that 1-to-1 to real life. If you didn't get your membership fee on RuneScape, your character would like go to welfare mode, you could call it, where you'd go to free to play. And free to play, you will have access to like 20% of the game, 10% of the game, and that's a pretty decent equivalency to real life, I would say. I think that's pretty good, because if you're poor in America, yes, you don't get to die. Like you're not going to die because they have a lot of systems in place to prevent you from dying, literally. But you don't get to do anything cool. You don't get to really explore, life. You're just kind of chilling, and just doing nothing all day. Because if you do just enough to get out of poverty, then they start hitting you with extra tax. They take away all your benefits. You make 10 cents too much, now your food stamps get sliced by 90%, etc. I think it's a pretty good comparison. Um, so then, now going forward from that example, now we're employed by Jagex is the company that runs RuneScape, and now we have to be productive. We have to be productive. So Jagex has built this world. Like the thing I'm doing right now is that I'm doing a job right now. I'm completing a quest to unlock us an area. So I'm getting a skill, or I'm doing whatever to I'm being productive. And in being this productive, I'm going to generate value. Like before, when I right click my items, these are my items. This is like my equipment I need to do the job. The cost going into it. So I have to have a little bit of cost for the tools and stuff to do the job. And then I have to. Yeah, I should really just go train my range 10 levels and then come back. I think I'm going to do that. So, God, this is really bad. I should really do better. Anyway, so you have to be productive in a way. So, why this is a better relationship in the game than in real life is because it's like I think the word's meritocracy, where you're getting paid for being better, I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. You're paid for your labor. So, like, and then vice versa, the comparison in real life is that you're not actually paid for your labor. Technically, literally, you're being paid for your presence at a job. So when you have an agreement with a company, most of the time you are paid to show up, and then you're paid per hour. And then within that hour, they kind of give you guidelines of what your job is. But then they also have a master who lords over you and makes sure that you are working to a acceptable standard to justify your existence there. But, and I'm sure many people have said this before, this isn't a new concept. If you're only incentivized to do the least amount of possible to not get fired with that structure. Okay. So why RuneScape is superior is that one of the things you could say is that, or not one of the things, you can get, so I can kill these rabbits. I could sit here and kill rabbit. Oh, this guy could just take all my kills. I can get these rabbits and get 1,000 GPE. Or if I decide, so if I needed to get 150,000 or 150 million, I needed to kill rabbits to pay my weekly, my bi-weekly living fee. I would need to kill 10,000 rabbits, as we just saw right there, how long that kind of takes. And, this is all we'd be doing. We'd just be chilling here, killing rabbits, right? So this time's 10,000 every 2 weeks to pay to live. Or we could figure out different ways to make money. We can go collaborate with other people. We can do a bunch of other stuff. So there's freedom within the game. Okay, so that sounded a lot better in my head, because then the rebuttal to that would be go get a better job. But whatever. What I was trying to get at with that example is that, in real life, if there was incentives for more than just showing up, so the incentive for me to kill this rabbit is that when I kill this rabbit, it's going to drop something that I want, so that makes me want to kill it potentially. So then, for instance, I'm just going to use all my examples instead of trying to relate everything to RuneScape. So at my job, there is a production bonus for my department. And when that happened and that was into effect, and then I was shown the system, immediately I went out to the machine the next time and I turned that machine on. Everything in my brain changed. It said, you're not just standing here anymore. You're not just doing the least amount to get whatever. Because now if you hit this threshold, you get extra money. And it got to the point where I was unreasonably mad at coworkers. And I was like, oh my God, this might be, I need to change, because if I'm just going to take it out of my coworker, then I'm going to jeopardize this production bonus, because I couldn't do it alone. I needed my team. I needed the material handler to come help me out to take my product away. I needed the relief operator to do his job effectively and for us to keep a good rapport so that like if he saw me in need, he would rotate up to help me, and if I saw him in need, I would rotate down to help him, etc. Now that's one. That's step one. That's one potential incentive. So now there's other incentives. I also thought of one when I was talking to my girlfriend. I was like, okay, so because like the rebuttal to that one would be, hey, you're going to produce product and you're going to let a lot of errors go by. And I was like, you know, in my head, because I already thought about this, I'm like, well, I better not let errors go by because if we get a bunch of sendbacks, this bonus might go away. So there's already a built-in feature of it. But then I also thought, what if they just put another little bonus if we don't get any sendbacks for the month or for the week, per week? If you get for the week, if you just do not have any customer complaints for a week, boom, another, let's say, $10. Doesn't have to be a lot. But, you know, it doesn't have to be a lot because now it's real. If I don't get any customer sendbacks, all I have to do is just not be a piece of shit and I get $10 more. Okay. Then I thought of another one. This one is actually, this kind of goes to my story, like how I went from zero to hero in the labor force. And it was a company had a perfect attendance bonus. They said if you were not late and you did not miss a shift per month, you get $400. And I was like, oh my God, that was a lot of money to just show up to work and do the thing I'm doing anyway. So then I was like leaving 10 minutes early. I was making sure I stood at past the time clock and I didn't clock out until it was a minute after my shift just to make sure that the time clock punched right. Then I was doing like stuff like that and I almost got heat stroke. I missed it a couple times, and one of the times, the first time, I don't think I missed a single day for 4 months. But when prior to that, when I worked for Walmart, I was calling in every other week. I was late almost every single day. I was exploiting I was doing the least amount possible to still keep my job and just have a little bit of money, just enough money to spend on cigarettes and beer. That's what I was doing. And then this bonus completely revolutionized my, like, it started me becoming like the big try hard at work. Like the big sweat brown, like I'd be called brown noser. I don't know what people say. They'd just be like, up whoever's ass, whatever, you know what I mean? Like the insults about people, you know, all the insults that people have for people who try at work. That those were all coming out of the woodwork, and I said, I don't care. I want that $400. Plus, then also another incentive that company was also doing in tandem with that was a profit sharing bonus. So based on sales per month, for every hour worked, based on sales. So the company had that plant location had to do well. Based on the sales, for every hour you worked, at the end of the month, they would calculate whatever, and it was per hour worked. They would add like 5 cents to sometimes $1 if they had like a crazy amount of like sales per hour worked. So this did two things. Well, you only qualified for it. You were allowed to be late once in the month. So then this I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, it incentivized two things. Don't miss work again, reinforcing that twice because companies don't make money when the employees don't show up. That's like one of the biggest money wasters of a company is when employees do not show up or quit. Turnover causes a lot of profit loss. Sorry. And then, whatever. I forgot. I fucking forgot where the. How do I don't know how to change the XP here. I think I go to settings, gameplay. Combat XP, yes. So I range, I do not want defense because I want it all to go into range. Anyway. So then, it incentivized two things. Showing up to work and working overtime. Which, you know, if a company's hurting for people to staff, it's always a bitch to get people to work overtime. But for those people, if anybody knows Pareto principle, that means that 20% of a system is doing 80% of the output. Okay? So that means at every business, there's 20% of the labor force, on every labor force, producing 80% of the results. Okay? That is just, it's a Pareto principle. It is a well-established principle. So you don't need everybody to do overtime. You just need those crazy people. So like the try hard sweats, the ones that get talked shit about, you just need them to keep trying harder. And and then everybody else kind of fills in the gaps for them. Okay. And then everybody else who isn't one of those 20%, it will drive them, because I wasn't one of those 20% when I worked at Walmart. You're going to change them into the new 20%. You know what I mean? You're going to raise the bar for the new 20% producing the new 80% from doing stuff like this. So anyway, the last part of that, maybe I shouldn't even have the fucking camera if this is going to keep lagging like this, dude. This is super fucking. The last part of the, yeah, fuck it. I'll just turn it off. I don't care. Anyway, so the last part of this incentive structure thing. Oh yeah, the perfect attendance bonus. The thing you could do also to make it like a million times more like better is that if you don't miss and that somebody else misses, the company doesn't keep the $400, or not the $400. It's not like really super good. I would do it lower personally for this next step. When people miss, their money goes into a pool, and that pool then goes into everybody who didn't miss. So it would be a way for you to, what's the word? Appreciate workers who do care, because that is a common trope of employees I hear all the time, and I've gone into it myself. Why the fuck do I like? If I'm getting paid the same as the guy down the road, why do I even show up or whatever? You know, like the new guy who doesn't do shit, and I've been here 10 years. Why would I do anything? Like, why would I even try? Like, you're disincentivizing, you're forcing it. You're like, instead of like the way that the economy is structured, or most job structures are structured, is that everybody's getting paid the same for the same job, but not everybody's doing the same work. Okay. So then how I would structure new companies and to make jobs not suck is to start at a baseline. You know what I'm saying? So like if everybody's paying $20 an hour in an area, instead of just matching what everybody else is, or just pay a little bit more so you can snipe some of the good ones or keep them for whatever, because there's a huge revolving door of laborers going from one factory to another factory to another factory in my area. Okay. So there's a revolving door, and everybody just rotates to the next factory as soon as it has a little bit better, you know what I mean? And you just have this constant turnover from factory to factory and stuff like that, just from what I've seen. So then instead of having, you know, everybody's paying $20 per hour and you pay 20, 25. Ooh. And you have a sign-on bonus. Well, which, oh my God, sign-on bonuses would be perfect too. Because if you're trying to snipe people, you know, that is another incentive here. So, okay, sorry. How I'm just going to make the perfect business here. I would go to hire at $16 an hour. People to show up for your production workers, let's say, for instance, $16 an hour. You get a sign-in bonus. Like for one of the companies I work for, they had a sign-on bonus. I forgot how much it was, $2,000, but I got it over 6 months. So then you guarantee for 6 months, I am staying at your company because I want that $2,000. Then you also layer in perfect attendance, $40 a month, something, whatever, $40 a month. Do the thing where if everybody else misses and you're the only one that shows up for that month, you get a huge fat check because everybody fucking missed and you're the best employee ever, blah, blah, blah. And then also you do profit sharing. And then also you do a performance bonus. And then also you do a safety pizza party or a safety bonus, another $10 for like you, not everybody getting injured or whatever. And this one I've argued with managers and stuff about too. They're like, well, that incentivizes people not to report injury. It's like, okay, well then you make a rule. If you don't report an injury and we catch you with an injury, you are fired. Wow. Crazy concept. It's like these people, they seem like they can't fire people when they're threatening to fire people all the fucking time for the dumbest shit ever. Like me, I wasn't punching out for some of my breaks because sometimes I needed to skip breaks to run my machine or get the machine up and running. So then the stupid corporate people who weren't in the factory would fucking call my supervisor and tell her to tell me that if I don't start punching out for breaks, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to that I need to get written up. So they're trying to use this negative reinforcement to scare me. And all it did was make me more mad. Because, like, most of these motherfuckers, whatever, who cares? No. Don't really care. I don't care. Anyway. Negative reinforcement. You don't need a lot of negative reinforcement. People need a lot more positive reinforcement than negative reinforcement. Like, most people will not go to a dangerous area in a city, and you don't need to, like, tell them why. You know what I mean? You don't need to threaten them, be like say, like, you're the governor of a city, like Chicago or some shit like that. Don't go to Englewood or I'm going to put you in jail for 25 years. Most people will go, oh, if I go to Englewood and I'm not from the area, it is a higher likelihood that I'm going to get shot. Even though most people probably don't get shot if you go through that area, just if you're going through. Everybody will just avoid that just in the off chance that they might get shot. So what I'm saying there is that, like, all you have to do is just, like, be consistent in firing people for not fucking doing, like, maintaining a standard. And that's pretty much all you're going to need to negatively reinforce them from a baseline. But then also you have built-in negative reinforcement from these bonuses and these incentive structures because you can take them away. When people get something, they get used to it. They don't want to lose it. Like the last company I worked for, there was a huge discrepancy of labor. So it was everybody either worked there for 1 million years or they had only worked there for 1 year. Okay, so there's this huge gap. There wasn't a lot of people who had been there for 5 to 10 years. There's always people who had been there for 25 plus years, 25 to like 50 years. People who were there when the plant was like built. They built them with the plant. And then there was people who were like me, just newbies. Everybody was green. And then I was brought into a meeting where they were showing like a pie chart of like 75% of the people quitting. They hired 240 some people in the year 2023 or some shit like that, or 2022. I don't fucking remember. And then 75% of them quit, 95% of them quit, and 75% of them quit within the first 3 months, and then the rest of the 20% quit before the first year. So then they pulled me in because I just made it past the third month. They're like, "Well, do you like it here? What, can you give us some feedback?" I'm like, "No, I want to quit every single day. I'm just trying to find reasons to stay. But you know, I can understand people wanting to quit your company because it sucks. It sucks. Your company sucks. There's like, I don't like the amount of suck that's going on here makes me like, it blows my mind how much this place sucks. It sucks so much. Like the suck here is like beyond any scale that you can measure it. And you guys suck. Okay, sorry. I just cannot emphasize the last company I worked for how much it sucked. Sorry. I'm just memeing a little. I'm not memeing, but it feels good to say it. I just want to keep saying it over and over again. But yeah. So they pulled me in and they said that shit. And it was like, yeah, I said that so much I forgot what the fuck I was talking about. But yeah. The reason why the old heads, that's what I called them. The old heads stayed. I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, why do you guys fucking stay? How the fuck did you fuckers stay here for so long? And it turns out is because they're cute little union pensions. They have these pensions that are paying them once they fucking retire like $2,000 fucking dollars a month or something crazy. It's like, oh no shit, you're gonna stay here. And then these people also had the audacity to complain about new people getting everything, bro. New people get everything, bro. It's like, bitch, no. I ain't getting a fucking pension. And the 401k, they had a 401k match that was like amazing. It was like they give you 4.5 for free. And then they took that away. I was like one of the last people to get that match. And then they just stopped offering it to people who were hired after me. So like, whatever. That's another tangent aside. It was just so fucking stupid. Okay, I feel a lot better with the camera off. I feel like I can just rant and keep talking and just do whatever. But anyway, sorry. But that is the incentive. If they quit, they didn't get their pensions or whatever. It didn't, like, what, you know what I mean? Like, if they had to work there for so long for them to still qualify to keep the pension, so then they were still grinding to get that, keep that. And that was only the stuff I knew. Who knew what other benefit packages they had? Because nobody was a lot like they wanted it to be transparent. They wanted to force the company to be transparent about how much money everybody was making in the plant, but they weren't forcing the company to tell us new people what other types of benefits and stuff that the old heads were getting that we were not getting grandfathered into. Yada, yada, yada. But anyway, sorry. I'm not going to sit here and complain about that, but I'm just saying they had a reason to fucking be there other than, well, not just be there, but they had an additional incentive to be there for 10 to 20 years. Like a very long-term incentive that had a very good payout. So there was an incentive. So in doing so, the company benefited that you could have these like dipshit ass managers who didn't know anything, these new fucker corporate dumb fucks who got MBAs from colleges, but they have zero experience in whatever. And I'm speaking hyperbolically here. I am ignorant. I don't know who was whatever, but it just seemed a lot of them didn't know what the fuck about the industry they were even in. So they were relying on these tenured employees who had been there when they had been there when the dinosaurs were roaming the earth still. So they had seen it all. And through their experiences, they were like the old ones. Like they would go down to their crypts, like these old people. They would wake them up from their cryogenic their cryogenic chambers from thousands of years ago when this factory was first built, and then they would ask them what's wrong with the PSI on this cheese pump, and then they would know because they had seen thousands of maintenance men come through and technicians. So then they saw what they did. So then they just relay the information. They'd be like, okay, thank you very much, and then put them back into cryo sleep. Like that is what they got in return for that long-term incentive structure with that benefit package or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. If you it's behavior you reward, is behavior you encourage. So like I said, just think of something you want from somebody. You want to be nice? Figure out a way to incentivize it with money. If you want somebody to be productive, figure out a way to incentivize it with money. If you want errors to go down, figure out a way to incentivize it with money. If you want teamwork and cohesion and cross-training, figure out a way to incentivize it with money. If you want people to yada, yada, yada. So back to my perfect company, I would start fuckers off at like whatever McDonald's is paying just to get those stupid fucks from McDonald's to come to my business instead, because this is just a low class. And I'm not actually talking crap. I really respect the manufacturing field, the low skill labor, everybody likes to call it. There's a lot of nuance and stuff that is in manufacturing, even at a low level, and I love it. And that's why I'm still staying in it. And I've turned down offers from friends to enter fields where once I am competent, I can literally just pull poop out of my butthole and smear it on my face and sit in front of my computer and get paid 6 figures a year. Like at the end of their 3-year little boot camp thing. I am resisting that because of the experience and the skills and the excitement from the grind, from the monotony in manufacturing, now that I've been taking it more and more seriously. So I'm not talking shit about low skill when I say that. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I respect low skill more than any of these fucking... And again, I'm ignorant about what they do, but I would sure let... If anybody out there who listens to this is in like a high skill position, I would like to tour you. I would like to shadow you to see what you actually fucking do, because I am in disbelief right now of what actually like corporate managers and stuff do. Like what value... I know there's value being done because their jobs exist and they're still in demand, but like I would be pressed. And the only reason why I would be pressed to follow around these people and judge what they're doing is because it seems so much from like commentators and pundits in the country that they talk so lowly about low skill laborers, like they're not the bedrock of all civilization. But anyway, that aside, if you can figure out ways to incentivize behaviors you want with money, break it down to every single thing. You want people to be healthier, incentivize it with money. You want people to breathe better, incentivize it with money. Figure out again, to RuneScape here. There's just the incentive for the entire game is fucking money. It's all just money. There's nothing there's no end to this game, but people keep playing it because there's just endless ways to make money, and then there's just like a quest to figure out the best ways to do it in the most optimal ways. Like I can go to the RuneScape wiki, and it is a community developed project that has more information about all the intricacies and nuances in RuneScape, more than ChatGPT has on all of the prompts it has for like human behavior or like human skills and stuff like that. Like, and this was just like, and ChatGPT was trained off the OSRS wiki, but the OSRS wiki has better, more reliable information on how to make money than ChatGPT would have reliable information about how to make money from its supercomputer large language model with trillions and trillions of fucking parameters and all this other shit. So, if you want so again, back to my whatever, I just wanted to say all that. I just remember what that exploded from, what seed that exploded from. But what I would do for my perfect company is just match McDonald's, because I know McDonald's is starting to pay 15, 16, 17. Match these stupid fucking fast food places where you got all the young blood that you want to try to pick up and grab some of the new blood. You know how like the NFL draft, we try to get the best new blood ever with the draft picks and shit like that. Same thing. Hey, you're making $15 an hour at McDonald's. Hey, bro, here's my card. I'm a supervisor at whatever factory. You want to make $2 more an hour just for showing up and breathing? Because you're sitting there just like drool falling on your mouth while you're drooling on my fucking order you got wrong. because there's no quality here because it's a McDonald's franchise and yada yada. I'm not. That was a joke mostly. I don't know anything really about the intricacies of fast food, and I'm probably the fact that I'm memeing is because I know little about it. But whatever. It is a joke, but whatever. I would do that. I would pick them. I would start picking off of like these huge corporations because they're the ones that are usually shitting on the people the most. So they're going to be the ones the most willing to come to a better, greener grass. Maybe. Through greener pastures like this cow. He wants to come out here to kick my ass, but he can't because he's trapped in the Walmart hell, and he's just getting plucked apart. He's just cattle, labor cattle. But anyway, like. Bring them out, to my factory making $2 more an hour and $17 an hour. But you have a budget, you want to get them to $25 an hour. All you do is stick, you figure out where's okay. So let's just do the math quick here. So we're gonna have, just for an example, we're gonna have $8 deficit times 40. Because if we're going 16, wait, did I do the math wrong? Yeah, it's because the high school dropout showing, isn't it? Yeah, we want 17 because we were trying to pick them. So we got $8 extra an hour here. Times 40, 320 on the budget, okay? And I know it's not that simple because there's like payroll tax and there's like benefit packages and all that other stupid shit. Benefits are fake anyway. Oh, sorry, that's a whole nother video. Well, that's part of it. Why jobs suck. This might just be my main channel podcast, and this was supposed to only be 15 minutes, but I just started fucking running with it. I love this shit anyway. So you got an extra $300, $320 a week, okay? So you take that times 453. And that's your monthly cost, or that's your monthly. And you take that times 12, and now you have 16. We'll just go, 16 grand because you're a business owner, so you're cheap. So you always want to round down when it's other people, but you want to round up when it's for you. You know what I mean? Like especially if you're corporate, you want this to be like 10 grand, right? So you're like 16 grand would be a good budget to get you to $25 an hour value. But you're only going to give them 10 grand because, you're a corporate. You're very corporate, okay? You're a corporate entity. This is what they taught you at your MBA. Your Master's of Business Association, whatever the fuck it stands for. Your MBA you got at Stanford or whatever. That you're like you're whatever. You're really cool. You're really special. Your special degree, everything degree. And this is what they said in the books. This is what they said in the masterminds. This is what they said in the whatevers. Just fuck everybody over. That's what they teach you. I mean, that could be wrong, but it's just in my experience. When it comes to corporate entities, they're very apathetic. So they have no problem fucking you whenever it suits them. So yeah. So you got 10 grand, and then you just, okay, so here's my budget per person. So then, you got your $40 a month. $40 a month. No, that's times, okay, yeah, $40 a month for your 12 months. So bam, so you got $480. So now you just subtract that from your 10 grand. And now this is how much money you have left to fit the rest of the money you want to pay them into incentives. So then what you're doing is you're allowing people to grow into this position by doing all the things you want them to. But then you also get the shitters, the what is that called? I call them shitters. That's my derogatory term for I think they call them some derogatory terms I've heard of. These types of the low class employees called donkeys, the ones that, take credit for everything. They hate everybody. They're only out for themselves, blah, 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 blah. The people you don't want at your company, but you keep them anyway because you just want to fire people for some reason. Because you got to keep your staff full your staff full, even though the people who are, whatever. I could rant about that too, but this is already, I don't care. Sorry. Back on topic here. But then you use this budget to then, give the performance incentive. So then if they hit a production goal on the day, times it times 30. So then if you take that times 5, it's 150, and then you take that times 4.33 to get your monthly, and then you take that times 12, boom, there you go, there's 7,000 whatever. So then you subtract that. So that's going to be your main one, because the main thing you want from employees is to be productive. So then you incentivize their productive like this, then you take that away from our 9,500 budget right now, and we still have $1,700 to play with. You know what I mean? So per week, if you just give them $10 times 4, or 4.33, sorry, so it's 43.3, we'll just round down to 43. Sorry. You take that times 12. Boom, there's $516. You still have enough room for that went the other way, so I got to do plus 516. You still have $1,000 to create some other incentives. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. And then, these are all multiple levels of incentive or levers from incentives that you could pull. It doesn't have to be 30, it could be 25. And then it gives you a little bit more money, or 15, or maybe you just pretty much need to figure out what their value is actually worth instead of the bargaining part where, because I feel a lot of businesses are taking advantage of the fact is that if you can control location, instead of making it like a contract job where you show up, you're getting paid a job, so then you leave when it's done. If you could control a person's location for a duration of time, you can exploit their freedom so that you can, like, okay, they're more likely to do something of value if I force them to stay at my property, and I force them to not be able to use their cell phones, and I force them to not, to take breaks. They're only allowed to have leisurely time within the 15-minute time, because then, if we force them to not smile, then we know that they're making us money. We force them to separate from each other. We force them not to be able to talk. We force you just force all these different things. You create these confined environments. You increase the likelihood that the actions that they're going to take are going to be making more money than what you're paying them. Okay, so it's not just like it's not as simple as like, oh, I'm just paying you less. It's like you're just trying to get people into the door and force them to stay at the location just because they're gonna be, oh well, since I'm here, I might as well be doing this thing. And then over a long period of time, they're going to build more value for your company because they're going to gain more experience doing the business that you're making money in, yada, yada, yada. But you can better utilize them in that by forming these incentives that I'm that I'm suggesting, to allow those people to excel and just to shift focus, because the reason why they're there is money, not because they love your job, more than likely, right? But they don't believe in your mission, unless, you should probably get your workers to believe in your mission. But that would require you to care. And one of the things in America that I've noticed with jobs is that nobody cares. And when I say nobody, I don't mean literally everybody, but because there's people out there that will care. But most companies, and the bigger they get, they seem to care less because they become more of a machine and just kind of like autonomous, and they just like kill people or whatever. Exploitative, whatever. You could just create systems to automatically get people to just focus more on the job at hand. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. It could be a stupid amount of money, and people are going to complain about whatever you're doing. And I've saw this from management teams too. A couple, like that last job, I was complaining about the company sucking or whatever. But part of the reason why they suck too is because of these old heads that just sit there. They rip the soul from the management team themselves too, because they sit there and there's the whiners and complainers because they're a union, and the union was protecting the shitters, because that's also a consequence of unions. I like unions a lot. I think unions are good for protecting people from exploitative companies, but then also a trade-off with that is that unions tend to protect shitters too. I don't think they enforce their own because they're incentivized to protect shitters because shitters pay union dues. So whatever. It's kind of my 2 cents there. That's not something I really want to die on the hill of, but that's just something I've observed. And these shitters, like, fucking, they bring everybody down, and they suck the soul from the management team. So the management team tries to do the little things like make a pizza party or have a sign saying thank you for your work. And then the shitters just shoot their mouth off and demoralize everybody around them, including the management team. Because there's usually more shitters than managers, because there's always more employees than managers. So you got 10 shitters for every one manager. So then 10 shitters is telling one person things, and that person's always saying one set of things to other people. But the 10 shitters are dumping their spirit by talking shit about things they're doing, picking everything apart that everybody's doing. And then those people are then, because it's part of their environment, they're shitting everywhere else. It brings everybody down, and there's no accountability and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. But, right. So the management team, they try things for the first time. And normally when you try things for the first time, because you've never, if you've never done anything before, and then you try it for the first time, it's probably going to be bad, like my video here. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Those are all the reasons the business sucked, part 2. If I still feel compelled to talk about it more, whatever, I'll talk about it more. But I'll catch you guys later. I need to actually move on to other videos. I only have 2 hours left tonight to make videos now. But I started just kind of popping off, and I'm just like utilizing that motherfucking that time and just going. So yeah, peace out, bro.